Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week wisdom and legacy building podcast. Today is day 736 of our trek, and it is Wisdom Wednesday. We continue this Wednesday to explore new trails on how to gain wisdom through a biblical worldview. The first few weeks we're plotting out what is a biblical worldview and why it is so important for a Christ follower to interpret life through the lenses of a biblical worldview. Once we lay out the foundation, we will look at the current issues that are impacting our world and society and explore them through a biblical worldview instead of the lenses of our society, culture, modern media, or social media. I do not desire to tell you what to think, but to teach you how to think so that you'll be able to filter current issues and events through your biblical worldview. You may not always agree with my views, and that's okay. I am open to any comments that you may have on the subjects that we will explore. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. Last week on our Wisdom Wednesday, we explored the starting points of a biblical worldview. And today we will extend on that subject and focus on the general implications of a biblical worldview. If you missed listening to the last 3 weeks, it would be good to go back to days 721, 726, and 731. So today we will explore the general implications of a biblical worldview. A biblical worldview becomes the driving force in life, giving us a sense of God's plan and purpose for this world. Our very identity is shaped by this worldview. We no longer see ourselves as alienated sinners. A biblical worldview is not an escapism, but is an energizing motivation for a godly and faithful thinking and living in the here and now. It also gives us confidence and hope for the future. In the midst of life's challenges and struggles, a biblical worldview helps us to stabilize our lives, anchoring us to God's faithfulness and steadfastness. Thus, a biblical worldview provides a framework for ethical thinking. We recognize that humans, who are made to be God's image bearers, are essentially moral beings. We also recognize that the fullest embodiment of good, love, holiness, grace, and truth is in Jesus Christ, as we see described in John chapter 1, verse 14 through 18. So the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness. We have seen his glory and the glory of the Father's one and only Son. John testified about this when he shouted to the crowds, "This is the one I was talking about when I said, 'Someone is coming after me who is far greater than I am, for he existed long before me.' From his abundance we have all received one gracious blessing after another. For the law was given through Moses, but God's unfailing love and faithfulness came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the unique one, who is himself God, is near to the Father's heart. He has revealed God to us." A biblical worldview has implications for understanding history. We see that history is not cyclical or random. Rather, we see history as linear, a meaningful sequence of events leading to the fulfillment of God's purpose for humanity. Human history will climax where it began, on the earth. This truth is another distinctive of biblical thinking, for Christianity is historical at its heart, in the sense that according to its essential teaching, God has acted decisively in history, revealing himself in specific acts and events. Moreover, God will act to bring history to its providential destiny and planned conclusion. God, who acted in history and past events, will also act in history to consummate the age. So when we ask, how will it end? We do not simply or suddenly pass out of the realm of history into a never-never land. We pass to that which is nevertheless certain of occurring because God is behind it and is himself the one who tells us that it will come to pass. Developing a biblical worldview is an ever-advancing process for us, a process in which biblical convictions more and more shape our participation in culture. This disciplined, vigorous, and unending process will help to shape how we assess our culture and our place in it. Otherwise, the culture will shape us and our thinking. Thus, a biblical worldview offers a new way of thinking, seeing, and doing based on a new way of being. A biblical worldview is a coherent way of seeing life, of seeing the world distinct of deism, naturalism, materialism, existentialism, polytheism, pantheism, mysticism, and deconstruction postmodernism. Such a theistic perspective provides us a bearing and direction when confronted with a New Age spirituality or secularistic or pluralistic approaches to truth and morality. Fear about the future, suffering, diseases, and poverty are informed by a biblical worldview, grounded in the redemptive work of Christ and the grandeur of God. Moreover, a biblical worldview offers meaning and purpose to all aspects of life. Well, that is enough to ponder on for today, and next week on our Wisdom Wednesday we will continue as we explore some sample particular applications of a biblical worldview. So we'll get down into the meat of our subject. The weeks following that, we will begin to select a subject and view some of the hot topics that are prevalent today through a biblical lens. If you have any topics that you would like us to cover, please email them to Guthrie@wisdom-track.com. Tomorrow we will continue our 3-minute wisdom nuggets that will provide you with a bit of wisdom that, if followed, will allow you to grow healthier, wealthier, and wiser each day. So encourage your friends and family to join us and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. That will finish our trek for today. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 735 treks or read the wisdom journals, they are all available at wisdom-track.com. You can also subscribe at iTunes or Google Play so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.